Hello, welcome to World Changing 101. I'm Gabrielle,
I'm Olivia.
and today we're going to be interviewing Miss Griffin, a former teacher here at Shortridge. And we're going to be asking her a little bit about her political campaign. Um, is there anything you would like to say before we begin with the questions?
I just like to say, hey, it's great to talk to everybody, and that I'm looking forward to answering your questions. And um, so, hit me with them. I love questions.
All right. Tell us a little bit about your experience with going from being a teacher to running for a political office.
Okay. Um, to me, it was a very easy transition because what I try to do as a candidate is to find out what the people I'm going to represent need, what my neighbors and friends and the people in this community need, and that is something that teachers do all the time in their classrooms. So it's just a little bigger classroom. I'm trying to figure out how I can best represent the people in my community, and then also give them the information and the resources and that they need to be able to be good citizens and to vote and to make good decisions for things that matter the most to them.
All right. So you've been a journalist for most of your life. Is that a challenge for you as a politician? Why or why not?
Both. Sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. It's really helped me a lot because I already know how government operates, especially on the local level, because most of my journalistic endeavors were at the local level in small towns, and that happens to be, or in some cases, big cities. But I know how the local government goes, and I know some of the processes and things that a first-time candidate may not know. So that has been a good thing. It's very hard because I'm used to it. The difficult transition was going to where I have to be more vocal about my personal opinions on things or how I feel or what I think should be done. I'm used to asking other people what the perspectives are and putting all the perspectives in. Now I get to focus on the things that I've seen over the course of 25 years of teaching.
Okay.
What advice would you give to a high school student that might want to seek a political office?
First of all, do it. But first of all, you have to become informed. You have to have a passion. You have to have a reason why you want to go in there, and you have to feel like your vote matters. And I think that's the hardest part. Even now as a candidate, I don't think my one vote matters a lot right now or my one voice, because there's a super majority that's in our state house, and it's so hard for one person to get out there and make a difference. That's why it's important, if you want to be a candidate, find out what's going on in your community, whether that's high school kids, what do you see, and don't be afraid to share your voice, because there are more people out there, and that's what I found out. There are more people out there that think like you and want somebody who cares about them and will listen to them than you think. Until we all get involved in the political process and we know what's going on, then nothing is going to change. The more people that vote, the more change happens.
Great advice. Great points. Could you describe your position on education as a former teacher? I know you're still in it a little bit, but.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My position on education is that what we've been talking about at the state level has nothing to do with what's happening in the classrooms. And the pandemic showed us a lot of things. The last 2 years I taught were at Shortridge during the pandemic. And I learned so much about what needed to be changed and the fact that it was changed and you can't go back. And I think that the state is still trying to go back somewhere in the way distant past. And the legislators don't know what's going on. And because of the years I spent in education, I've listened to a lot of teachers, and it's across the board. In El Paso, where I taught, here at elementary levels, which I'm working with at college levels, the same thing. But if you really want to know what happens, these answers are going to come from teachers and from the students. They're the ones that know the most about what we need, not legislators, not business people. It's the teachers and the students. And so that is where I think all of the change needs to happen.
Absolutely. Discuss what you feel was one of your greatest what is it? Accomplishments as a teacher.
I saw this question on the list and I'm like, oh my goodness. I will say it's not about my greatest accomplishments, and I bet you all the teachers there, because I still know many of them. It's not about, if you're a true teacher, your greatest accomplishments come when you give students the opportunity to see what their greatest accomplishments are. And seeing my students over the years be able to do the things that they love, that they were passionate about, that means more than anything I personally did. And all I did was give them the opportunity and support and encouragement and the resources and the chance. And so that's what I consider my greatest accomplishment, that I was able to have the support and the resources needed, that I could give them the chance to really find out how they can contribute to the world.
Mm-hmm. So if you take office after November's election, describe how your life will change.
I have no idea, and that's kind of the fun part. I do know what the legislators do, and I do know the situation is one where everybody goes, oh, you're running as a Democrat. Yeah, good luck with that. And so I know that a lot of people don't even expect me to, so I'm sort of a superstitious person. So, that's not, I don't even want to think about that if it happens. It would be a long time dream for me. I've always wanted to be a part of government and get to be somebody who makes decisions rather than just writes about the people who make decisions or are on the other end of the decisions, and you got to live with it. You know, even though I've been voting, I have voted, but you know, I'm not giving up on voting matters and one person getting in there and just being a voice for other people. That's what I really want to do. I have a lot of ideas that I've either tried as a teacher and have worked, and that I think could be expanded. And that's one of the things I want to do when I get in that position, just try to find people who would have like minds and really start to change and listen to teachers and try to support teachers in my district as much as I can in being able to do what they would really like to do for their students.
Can you explain which of the books you have published so far is your favorite?
It all depends on what day you ask me. The one that's the most popular is The 12 Days of Christmas in Indiana, which is an awesome book because it was the very first real book that I did, which was one that I didn't create from start to finish. And I got to collaborate with a really famous illustrator, Troy Cummings, who did The Notebook of Doom. But that's not my favorite. I would say, honestly, probably the very last one that I did. It's always, hopefully, the one that's your favorite. I love The Birth of the First Amendment, which was launched at Shortridge, by the way. And it is the closest to my heart. But I love The Ultimate Sibling Showdown because it featured my students doing things that we actually used to do. It's pretty close to life, even though it is a totally fictional graphic novel. But that one, and I had to do that all on my own during the pandemic with a great illustrator, and we still haven't made any money off of it at all, but it was just so great while all of the things were going on with the pandemic to be able to show some of the good things that happened in education, and to be able to have a voice for people, for kids, and reaching their dreams and going for their dreams. So
So you have a nonprofit organization called Danny's Dreams Innovation in Education. Could you give us some insight on how and why it was developed?
How that was is like you find with a lot of parents who happen to be in my situation over the course of years. Some of the greatest nonprofits were started out of a tragedy and some way to try as a parent to make sense of what happened to your child. And that's how Danny's Dreams started. My oldest daughter was killed in a traffic accident when she was 23, just getting ready to be a teacher. She had just done some substitute teaching, and she loved outdoor education. She loved animals. She loved dolphins. She loved working with kids, and she had great fun because she never lost her sense of childlike wonder at what was going on. And so that's why I decided to start a similar nature education. Science was never my big thing. I always like to feel like maybe I did teach her some appreciation for nature. But so it's been a learning process for me, and it happened to come at a really great time when kids need environmental education. They need to be inspired to be able to know that the little actions they take and them being aware of what's happening in our earth is a good way for other people, is for change to happen by the time they're adults. And unfortunately, it's going to be your generation that's going to have to deal with the effects of climate change and all of that. But I think we can do it in a positive way instead of being all gloom and doom. And that's what Danny's Dreams is about. It's about having fun, getting outside, and finding out all the wonderful things that are out there that we want to protect and save.
Many students struggle with having several future goals and not knowing how to achieve all of them. Can you give some guidance on multitasking to reach more than one goal?
I think that is not, I don't think that really is a problem for students. The problem is the priority, because you guys are great multitaskers. I've watched you, I mean, you can be on the phone, you can be writing something, and you can be talking to somebody all at the same time. But I think what happens is you don't have any time to stop and honestly have a conversation with just yourself and focus on what do you really love, what do you want to do, and then put things in priority, because we are done with the whole, I'm going to do one thing with my life. I'm a prime example of that. I knew I was going to be a journalist for the rest of my life, I thought, and I was, but only for 16 years. Then I became a teacher of journalism, but then I thought, I really want to write some books. So then I did that. And now I'm like, it's about time for me to see if I can make some changes in the teaching profession from the outside instead of the in. So, but I had my priorities as I moved through my career. And sometimes you don't know what's going to happen to you, so, but if you know at first what is your main passion, you have to have a passion, and you have to know, not necessarily that you're good at it or the best at it, but that you love it and you want to make a difference for other people. It can't always be about yourself, which is why, influence is a great job, but you aren't going to do it as just one person, But if you want to be an influencer for a cause or a passion that you really love, that you're concerned about, that you think needs to be changed, then yes, you have something outside that you can work your personal goal in and achieve both of them at the same time.
Thank you. Your answers were really inspiring. I would like to thank you for coming on with us today. That's all we have. We have amazing answers. Thank you so much.
We're so excited to have you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm glad that I got to talk to a couple of you. I don't know if there's any students still at Shortridge that may remember. I know I had lots of freshmen that last year of the pandemic, so I know that it's really important also to learn how to communicate and to listen to each other. So that would be the last thing I would tell you.